Hello everyone and welcome. Sit back, relax, and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for new stories from Yellowcat. Write your favorite stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. Let's get started. In the first story, inebriated people are a special kind of entitled. In the second story, sovereign citizen catches a sovereign boot in his A. In the third story, new boss forgot these files were edited from her computer. The first story is, this is not Burger King, you can't have it your way. This was back in the late 90s. I was working at the House of Clown during the summer before I started university. Amazingly enough, back then, I actually liked people. It's funny how doing customer service can change that. Anyway, I digress. It was just before school started, and the store that I was working at was nestled in between a business district and a major university. Since our store was located where it was, we got an extremely diverse clientele. Professional corporate types, jocks, faculty, all sorts. Cast of characters. Me, Natalie Portman. Okay, not really, but I'm sure she'd get an Oscar for the movie adaptation. Me, of course. Jerry, stoner customer number 1. Now, one evening, I was working the late shift, and it was about 9 p.m. It was after dinner rush and before drunk o'clock, so it wasn't very busy. I was just talking to my co-cashier and clock watching. It was still 3 hours before I got off of work, and just about time when I should be going on my break, which was good because I was starving. I was just about to ask my manager if I could take my break when I looked up. Standing outside of the doors was one of the school's more eclectic sorts, aka a hippie. He was just standing there in his tie-dyed Grateful Dead t-shirt, a pair of patch quilt pants, staring at the door as if he had forgotten how this strange contraption worked. The word baked immediately came to mind. I watched him curiously as he continued to stare at the emblem on the door. Finally, he seemed to remember himself and he walked in. Now, I smelled him before I got a good look out of his face. He smelled as if he had bathed in patchouli and was hiding enough herbal love in his ill-kept dreads to feed the entire college for the next decade. Seeing that he was just sort of standing there looking around, I stepped up to my register and boosted my voice a little and said, "Sir, I can help you here." Slowly his head turned and he looked at me. I smiled at him, he stared at me. I smiled a little wider and nodded encouragingly. He stared. "I can help you here." He stared. I had a moment of confusion, wondering if I was just imagining making sound. Finally, he blinked and said, "Are you open?" I looked at my co-cashier who snickered and wandered over to the drive-thru to watch from a safe distance. "Yes, I can help you here." He walked back to the door and opened it, calling out to people that I couldn't see that we were indeed open. Now, it wasn't uncommon to get people with altered consciousness in the store, whether it be stoners or drunks, we got them all. I found you just needed to be a little slower and a little more forgiving, and they were usually harmless, and, to be honest, I would take a stoner over a drunk anyway. You never knew which way a drunk would go, but the stoners were usually quite mellow. Jerry and his friends wandered in, and the smell was enough to give you a contact high. They stood huddled in a little group, passing money around and whispering loudly about who was the least impaired so that they could order. It seemed as though Jerry was the highest functioning. Oh joy. So he was elected. After some more discussion, Jerry finally approached the counter. I put on my award-winning customer service smile. "Hi, what can I get you?" Jerry stared at my mouth as I spoke as if he was utterly transfixed. He kept staring, and staring, and staring. Me. "Sir?" Jerry. "Huh?" Oh boy, this was going to be a long one. I took a deep breath and tried again. "What would you like to eat?" Wrong question. Jerry. "Oh wow, what a great question." I winced inwardly as he stared off into space for a while. Jerry. "I really like to get those little sausages in a can and some Cheese Whiz and..." Me. "No, I'm sorry. What would you like to order from us?" Jerry. "From you?" Again, I nodded encouragingly. He looked around as if he had forgotten where he was. I wanted to cry. Little did I know he was just getting started. All of a sudden, it seemed as though Jerry had an epiphany. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a fistful of crumpled paper. He looked through it and pulled out a coupon, laid it on the counter, and flattened it with the palm of his hand before stepping back, looking extremely proud of himself. I leaned forward to look upon the glory of his buy two, get one free coupon for, wait for it folks, a trademark sandwich from the King of Burgers. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes for a moment to center myself for the fight I knew was coming, then affixed my smile again. I'm sorry, you can't use this here. Jerry looked confused. Why not? Then, from the peanut gallery, one of his friends yelled a defiant, "Yeah, why not?" Corpus Krispies, I thought to myself. Me. This is for a trademark sandwich. We don't sell those here. Jerry stared at me some more, clearly trying to work through what I had just said. Is this discrimination? Again, one of his friends called out, "That's not cool, man." I was not getting paid enough for this. No, it's not discrimination, it's just that this isn't our coupon. Jerry. Of course it's not your coupon, it's mine, and I'm not giving it to you because I want to use it. You get your own coupon. I whimpered. Me. No, I mean we don't accept this coupon. It's for another store. Jerry. I shouldn't have to go to another store, you should take it. Me. No, I mean it's for the King of Burgers store. There's a King of Burgers right across the street. Jerry. No, man, that's far. You need to take it. Can I get 10 with this coupon? I turned to look over my shoulder for help. My co-cashier and my manager might as well have had popcorn as they stood watching my discomfort and frustration with great amusement. For the next 20 minutes, we went around in circles over and over again as I tried to explain that we were not indeed a King of Burgers and we didn't have the item that the coupon covered. I wasn't discriminating against them. They were white. I didn't hate them. It wasn't personal, and I wasn't trying to betray them to the FBI. Yes, one of them actually said this. His friends were growing increasingly discontent, and with a loud announcement that they were going to go somewhere that wasn't so prejudiced, they began to file out, one of them pausing to knock a napkin holder to the ground. Jerry still hadn't budged, so I folded my hands beneath my chin, raised a prayer to any passing deities for patience, and decided to try one more time. Okay, I can do this, I thought to myself. Me. What's your name? Jerry. Me? Jerry. Me. Alright, Jerry, come here. I waved him forward as if I had a secret to tell him. He leaned across the counter toward me, and I pointed to my name tag. Do you see my name tag? What's it say? Jerry looks down at my name tag and makes a face like a 90-year-old trying to read Japanese stereo instructions as he tried to focus enough to read it. At long last, he said triumphantly, Quixiquirk. Me. Right! But above that, right here, what does that say? Again, he focused, his jaw falling open in concentration. Jerry. House of Clown? Me. Right! Very good! I clapped for him and he looked immensely proud of himself. Me. Now, Jerry, think real hard. What can you buy at the House of Clown? I could hear the semi-comatose hamster in his head struggling to get the wheel moving. There was an almost audible creaking sound and smell of burning hair. After the time it took for the sun to rise and set 2 more times, he came up with an answer. Jerry. Different trademark sandwich? Me, genuinely excited at this major breakthrough. Yes, exactly! Then I waited for the penny to drop. I looked at him expectantly. Jerry stared at me as if the very barest hint of an idea might be coming to him. Slowly, very, very slowly, a knowing smile dawned on his face and he pointed at me, wagging his finger at me up and down as he pointed. He tapped the coupon on the counter and nodded, pointing back at me again. This is for the King of Burgers. Yes! I literally jumped up and clapped with joy. I don't think I felt as accomplished when I graduated high school. There's a King of Burgers right across the street. Right there! You can see it through the window! Jerry picked up his coupon and jammed it back into his pocket and raised his hand to point at me again as he backed towards the door. You're cool. I gave him a thumbs up and pointed to the King of Burgers through the window. Jerry walked out of the door and I started to relax, but he stopped, opened the door, and poked his head back in. I perked back up as he asked, "Oh, hey, do you think they have chicken?" "Remember your coupon is for trademark sandwich?" I silently apologized to the cashiers across the street. "Oh yeah, thanks little lady, you're still cool." With that, Jerry was gone from the store and gone from my life. I slumped over the counter in relief. My coworkers started laughing and my manager approached me. "You did good, little lady. I think you need a break." "Yeah, I think so too." Finally, I got to eat. This is the kind of stuff that food service workers have to deal with, so next time you go to Trademark Burger House and they get your order wrong, just be a little nicer. I mean, they still got your order wrong, so get your food, but be nicer. The second story is Sovereign Citizen visits a sovereign restaurant. This happened this afternoon. I was down in the basement office and the hostess comes in, tells me there's a man upstairs who won't wear a mask, mandated in our state in restaurants, and refuses to leave. He demands to speak with the manager. No problem, I've only done this 894 times at this point. Up the stairs I go. He's smugly leaning on the host stand. Me: "Sir, you have to wear a mask to be in here." Him: "No, I don't." Me: "Yes, you do. Please put one on or exit the building." Him: "I know my rights." Me: "Then you should know we are currently under a mask mandate in this state and we're not going to serve you without one." Him: "You can't force me." Me: "I'm not trying to force you. I'm simply telling you your options. Mask or leave." Him: "I am a sovereign citizen and I don't abide by any laws or mandates set by any government. You hold no authority over me or my person. You are required to serve me as I am." Me, in my brain: "Oh, for F's sake." Me, out loud: "I am also a sovereign citizen and you are currently in a sovereign restaurant. You are on sovereign ground and are subject to my requirements. I require that you leave immediately." Him: Me: "Please exit the building. You are trespassing on sovereign territory." Him: "Well, there's a lot of other restaurants in this town." Me: "Plenty of options." Him: "I guess I'll just spend my money somewhere else." Me: "Great, we agree." Him storming out: "This is discrimination. You'll hear from my lawyer." Me calling after him: "As a sovereign citizen like yourself, I neither recognize nor am under the authority of any court of law." Him: "F off." I'm surprised he didn't film the whole thing and camp out till the police came. What is wrong with people? How have I never thought to counter a sovereign citizen claim by claiming to be a sovereign citizen yourself? Fight fire with fire! That's genius! The third story is New Boss Gets What She Deserves. Several years ago, I was working for a sporting goods store as the customer service desk guy. Mostly what I did was returns and some special stuff with Ticketmaster and hunting/fishing licenses. While it wasn't a glamorous job, I liked it because I'm an outdoors guy and so the clientele were fun to talk to. One day we were informed we were getting a new general manager as the old one, decent guy but distant, was being transferred. The new manager was a raving harpy a-hole sea trash. She enjoyed making employees upset, didn't give a flying F about our customers, did nothing to improve anything about the store, and kept the other managers in her office with endless meetings about improving the store. After a few months of this BS, and seeing some of the high school girls hired to work in shoes crying after her ranting at them, I had enough. I wrote a rather eloquent letter to corporate about her behavior and actions, and had several employees sign it. 2 days later, several regional higher-ups arrived and proceeded to chew her out big time. She was suspended for 2 weeks and told that if the store didn't improve within the next quarter, she'd be fired. But that's just the beginning of the story, dear reader. I thought I had won, but no, I had not. Apparently, she found out it was me who wrote the letter, probably got told by one of the other employees, I'm not sure, and wanted revenge. So she got into the computer system and started to fake records showing I had been selling gift cards to myself, pocketing the cash difference, and then buying merchandise with those cards. Mostly candy, pop, small stuff, which she was probably pocketing since her counts weren't ever off. She then called in loss prevention, who weren't doing their jobs too well because they didn't look closely at the files and their last edited dates, yay for WinNT office, because they believed it and called in the county sheriffs. 2 deputies came, looked over the evidence. To their credit, they asked, "Are you sure and can you explain this?" several times, and I got the feeling they were unsure about the whole mess. Nice guys, too. They offered to take me out through the back instead of parading me past customers, let me have a cigarette before we left, and were generally courteous and respectful, and ended up arresting me on felony theft charges. Taken to jail, booked, the whole shebang. I was in tears for pretty much 3 days. But I knew this was BS, so I got my parents to help hire a lawyer for me, told them the whole story, and said under no circumstance were we pleading out to anything. He said okay and set up a meeting with the DA to talk about motions and such. When we arrived, the DA was all smiles and very polite. He informed me that the paperwork wasn't quite done yet, but that they were dropping all charges and filing false report charges against my old manager. The investigators had looked over the evidence and found that A, the files for almost 3 months worth of thefts had all been edited on 2 days, both of which I had not been present for, but that she had. B, they had all been edited from her computer, a computer I did not have access to, and C, several of the thefts occurred on days when I was in the system as being out of state on vacation. I felt a lot happier after that, and felt even better when my ex-boss was found to have fled the state and checked herself into a mental hospital for a nervous breakdown. She was eventually brought back, charged and convicted. Last I saw, she was an assistant manager at a gas station, while I'm now a federal firefighter and in school to become a police officer, and will make sure I read over every bit of evidence put in front of me. It's only after I saw her pumping gas that I could claim victory over her. What an absolute nutcase. So several people come together and agree that you are terrible at your job, and from what I can see, you are terrible at your job, and so they report you to upper management. You don't even get fired, and you try to get one of those people arrested? What is wrong with you? Thank you for subscribing, the likes, and the comments. See you in the next video.